Do you think the crypto markets have topped? Has Bitcoin and Ethereum topped? Because the altcoins have started selling off yesterday, and who could have predicted this? Well, look at this, right? Even though it doesn't look like it on the Bitcoin chart, but if we look at on some of the other charts, basically they're down, crypto's down like 10, 15% across the board, right? And here was me warning about this 2 days ago. To be fair, I wasn't sure either, but I gave you guys signals on what was going to happen to the market. I did say, take some profits off the table. I'm not 100% sure. No one can ever be 100% sure, but I am seeing the signals, right? So take some profits off the table. I can't say I'm strongly leaning towards, I have high confidence towards a pullback, but I would say in that case, if you're unsure, then there's risk. If there's risk, then take something off the table. Take some profits off the table. What was I referring to? Well, if you watch this video, which was posted 36 hours ago, and it was posted a day before that in my Discord, so my Discord got the early call on this, this was a signal I was referring to. For folks who watched that video from 36 hours ago publicly, or 2 days ago, 3 days ago in my own Discord, because if you look at that video, you can see the charts I was referring to was Monday's charts, and I was calling this on Monday. Essentially, I'll just quickly go over why I made that call, because you can see the yellow line here. That yellow line is the open interest of all altcoins except Bitcoin. The green is open interest of just Bitcoin. That means open interest is the amount of people who are betting, going long and short in crypto futures trading. So the futures trading volume of alts, it's much higher than Bitcoin. When it does this and it peaks, right, that's a pretty big signal. In fact, look at this. November 21, it called the exact top to Bitcoin at 69K. Here, right, I was comparing the signal. I said maybe it's not this kind of major top signal, but in a bear market, the signal is pretty bad as well. I said maybe it could be like this sort of signal, right? When you're in a rising bull market, because I'm expecting Bitcoin to go higher to like 140 to 160K, to that zone. So therefore, what we could be seeing is a sideways move. Now, these sort of sideways moves are already pretty bad. This was in March last year when Bitcoin went from 74K and then eventually went down to 49K. That was that really bad 7 month in between there. This one was what I compared to. I said, look, we have 3 weeks of pullback and then Bitcoin keeps on going. But I warned that Bitcoin still went from 52K down to 39K. So that was still like a 20% pullback, right? Before we resumed to blow off top. I wouldn't even call that a blow off top, but if that does happen here, then we see 1, 2, 3 weeks, something like that. Not an exact science, and then blow off top to 140 to 160K. And even this signal here signaled the top, but you didn't get a top immediately. This was in December when Trump was elected. Markets went sideways, right? 108K and then 109K double top, and then went down to 84K. My call was 83K. We came very close on April 7th. Even that was pretty bad. I don't think we're going to get that either, because that's a 4-month pullback. If we were to do a 4-month pullback, we would already be in November. I don't think we have that kind of time. I think 3-week pullback could be a sharp pullback, could be like, I'm just saying the worst case scenario. Not it's going to happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but in the worst case scenario, it can be as bad as a 20% pullback. So like 100K in the worst case scenario, extreme scenario. So I'm thinking more like 3 weeks pullback, 4 weeks max, and up we go. If it does happen. Still, even at this stage, I can't be 100% sure that the pullback is happening. So, I mean, and I've explained all of that to you guys. I said, but this signal is something very important to take notice of. What's going to happen? I'm going to look at a few Ethereum and a few altcoins as an individual examples of how I'm positioning my entries, because I didn't think that was the top. I'm expecting more of another leg up, or even 2 leg up between and topping in September to November. But before we get to those questions, first let's answer the question of which crypto exchange does Pablo Jimenez use? Well, Pablo uses exchange that's non-KYC. That means you don't need to show any ID. That means even the exchange can't see who you are. So basically, just by that means the IRS can't see you, the tax office can't see you, the FBI, CIA, nobody can see you. Total privacy just by depositing, right? Get up to 20%. Deposit $100, get $20, right? Deposit $1,000, get $200 futures trading bonus, right? Win up to $18,000 in bonuses just by trading, right? And this offer ends 12th of August, folks. And if you're watching on YouTube, then the link is in the description below. The link is in the description below. But if you're watching on any other platform, then just go to my profile page, and then here's my stand link or the link tree, and it should be the first deal that pops up. There it is. Okay, let's get back to the markets, folks. But keep in mind, this great deal is only on the Pablo Heman link. Only on the Pablo Heman link. So let's have a look at Ethereum. Before we look at ETH, I just want to say I'm not too worried because look, SPY is actually still making new all-time high. Look, SPY accelerated up, right? Accelerated up. NASDAQ 100 accelerated up. Well, it's still looking pretty good. Above all-time high. Let's see where people who've been following me, you know how much I care about the stock market, partly because I invest in it, but also partly because of how important it is, a signal for crypto. So here it is. Here it is. Let me just draw this one. To see where we can possibly get a NASDAQ top. Okay, this line, by the way, is coming all the way from COVID lows. Okay, so COVID lows. Here, let me get it exactly correct. Okay, so have a look at this line, guys. This red line that I've just drawn. Because look, I can't believe I have to explain this over and over again for the new guys watching. This is when Bitcoin topped, right? December, I just showed you guys. Double top in January, right? 108K, 109K. And then Bitcoin bottom on April 7th, right? At 83K, I just explained, 84K, I just explained this. And guess what? This is only the NASDAQ chart we're looking at because Bitcoin follows the NASDAQ to a large extent. So if NASDAQ tops and goes down to a bear market crash, that's where Bitcoin's headed. I would say that was 90% likelihood. 80% minimum likelihood, all right? So, look, this line, you guys just saw me very carefully draw. That was the line from the COVID lows. So here we go. If we were to, I know this is unorthodox, take a line through the COVID lows, through this low, which is not a major low. So people are asking, why did you do that, Pablo? This is not a major low. But I'm connecting this top, which was a significant top, and especially this top. That was almost an equal double top. If we were to collect the line through these significant spots, we get kind of a rising wedge situation. A rising wedge between this red line I've just drawn and also this significant red line that holds NASDAQ all the way through here. And then we get between September and November, if Pablo is right, if we get the top in September to November, and I mean like a major top, then we would be around here, 600 even. Oh, wow. Just above 600. Right now it's 564. We get just above 600, somewhere there. This is end of September, early October, 603, 604. We get somewhere there, right? 610, let's call it, 605, 610. Blow off top, and down we go. So same thing I would say on the SPY. Once you can see once again the NASDAQ just follows the SPY. I mean, exact same pattern, right? But for people who don't believe this, people who want to say, oh, what if the spider, the SP500 ETF, that's following Bitcoin? Well, the SP500 ETF is about 20x larger. Sure, that's like saying Ethereum is following Sushi Swap. Okay, that's kind of like the logic. Once again, starting from the COVID low here, we have two waves, three waves, and this Trump tariff thing was fourth wave. and then final fifth wave blow off top. Now it already looks like we're kind of pretty close, but in terms of timing, we're not close. So maybe a pullback and then a pump up into September, October, mid 60s, 660, 670, something like here, right? And yeah, and then down we go. So if that's the case, we still have time for Bitcoin and for Ethereum. Let's have a look at ETH. For everyone's favorite question, when is altcoin season? The altcoin season, as I've been arguing, has already started. We've seen a lot of these coins, like, Dogecoin already. I said a few weeks ago, I said altcoins already started. Like, this is what, from 14 cents to 28 cents, 2x run. CFX, for example, this is what, 6 cents to 24 cents, 4x run. It's already 2x run, 4x run, and these are large coins, large caps, right? CFX is over 1 billion. The other one, Doge is 15 billion or so. So these are not small coins. So Ethereum, not just the video I was referring to, but in the last few videos, I've been saying, look, guys, we've hit a major resistance here. It can go straight up, but I believe we're going to pull back from this yellow line. What's the yellow line? It's basically connecting the all-time high of Ethereum 4,800 through this high of 4,100, almost touches this high, and then through this high we just had in December at 4,100, and then we just hit that again. So it connects these 3 or 4 important all-time highs, and we just hit that at 30 when we hit 3,800. So I said I'm expecting a pullback. If there's going to be a small pullback, then we hit 3,500s. What did we hit here? What's the number? The low is 35.29. Okay, 35.29. My support lines around here, right, in the high 3,500s, went through there. It went through and wicked up. What does it look like on the daily situation? Let me try to identify a proper support zone first. Let's see. The next support, major support, is actually around 3,300. I'd be very surprised if we get there, considering how strong Ethereum has been, but it is possible. Okay, so what's the scenario? That would be a major buy the dip. That would be the major buy the dip situation at 3,300. So what's the scenario where this could happen? I'm going to outline this scenario. I think there's like a 30% probability this could happen. Right now, Trump has this task force called the Crypto Review Task Force, the Blockchain and Crypto Review Task Force. And it's run by a former football player called Bo Hines. Yeah, that Bo Hines. And after 180 days, they've come up with their report. Trump's going to do a report for crypto industry on the 30th of July. 30th of July being like 6 days from now. And there's a chance that the market is still hanging on, expecting something big to save the market. And on 30th of July, if it turns out to be another nothing burger, if it underwhelms, if it disappoints the markets, then basically the market is like, okay, let's sell off. And then we can go to 3,300 and bounce from there. I wish I could see a major support zone between there and here. Just not that many that I can see, right? Even Fibonacci levels, like around 3,365, 3,400, 33, yeah. So if we close convincingly below this level, 3605, and if Trump delivers a disappointing report on the crypto industry on July 30th, then chances are we're going to 3,300s, maybe even low 3,300s. I know it's a big call considering how strong Ethereum has been, but that looks like where it is going. And of course, needless to say, this is a must-hold area, 3,300s. In extreme scenario, we could wick down to 3,180, but then bounce back to 3,300s and go up. Again, I'm not saying This is my favorite scenario. I'm not saying that's my base case. I'm not saying I'm leaning towards that scenario, but I'm warning you guys, this could happen. Could happen. It's like saying, who predicted that Ethereum was going to go from what, 2,200 up to 3,800 in 4 weeks in this run? Nobody. My prediction was that we're eventually going to get to 3,200 and get rejected, and then go sideways and then go up. But it didn't even stop at 3,200, it went straight up. So even in my, people know me as the guy who calls the altcoin season. Even for a very optimistic person like me, very bullish guy like me, my bullish scenario wasn't bullish enough. It went straight through. It didn't even stop at my resistance. So just always be prepared. What if it goes there, right? I'm not saying it will. That's not my most likely scenario, but it could. Let's have a look at ETH versus Bitcoin. Because the other scenario we could have is what if ETH versus Bitcoin turns out to be really strong? ETH versus Bitcoin, we could get a pullback here. I'd be very doubtful if it gets back to the next support, which is 0.027. It looks like we're breaking down from 0.03. Probably stop around 0.029 area. Yeah, that area, because of these highs here. We really don't want it to retrace most of the gains here, right? Even though theoretically that's still a bull market, but we really don't want to see that. So with this pullback, we've seen some coins, for example, Dogecoin pullback, and this is quite normal. Like you've had a run up, 2x run up, right? Hit major resistance line 2755, right? We can see how big of a resistance line that is, because this is where it bounced off 27 cents and then comes back, boom. Because the Ethereum pullback, then Doge pulls back to the next layer of support, 23 cents. And for folks asking about CFX, in my video from 2 days ago, I said we're gonna hit this level, 17.5, but because it's just naturally on the chart, and this is also 0.618 of the Fibonacci. But what happened is some bad news actually came out. So it was from technical charts, it was likely to happen anyway, combined with some bad news. But as I explained in my Discord, it's not as big of a deal as the market is making out to be. So it looks like we're going to test the next lower support, which is 50% pullback, right? 15.5 cents. And even if we get down to 13.2 cents, that's still kind of normal, but you don't want it to go that low. You want it to be relatively small pullback and up and go. Essentially, the Shanghai government took down the news. It reported about CFX and about CFX doing stablecoin RMBs. And but as I say, they're not the only source that's reporting this. So many major sources in China are reporting about CFX. I would, well, not financial advice at all, but I have some buy orders at 15 or below here, right? Okay, thank you for tuning in, guys. Not financial advice. I'll catch you next episode.